Hi, I'm Kelly at Book and Paper Arts, and today I'm going to start altering this new book. It's from the 1920s, and look at that cover, will you? This book started out not as a guide to travel. That I probably would not have taken apart, but instead it's a collection of sermons, and not very good ones. So I had no trouble at all trying to make this into something else. I tore out some pages and glued other pages together so that now I have a heavier substrate and a series of canvases to make layouts on. Here's the deal. I had been working on this book for about 10 days, gluing, weighting it down, drying it, and then this section just broke. It just snapped right here in the middle. But I had put so much time into it, I thought, I'm going to see if I can mend it. I took this old dictionary page, glued it down, and pulled it carefully across the middle, and weighed it down, let it dry, and see what would happen, and it held. Yay! But then this one broke. And again, I tried mending this one using a tea bag. I'm just kind of pushing it together and letting it dry, see what happens. It held. And then you know what? Every single piece here broke in two. Now, as a rule, if I'm preparing a book, even if I've got lots of time into it already, if I have to mend more than 2 bindings, I'm going to stop. Because otherwise, I'm just throwing good time after bad. But this cover, I just couldn't give up on this cover. So I went back and mended every single one. And you know what happened? It's still bust. That looks okay, but look what happens when I pull this page over. Those do not line up flat. They're not flush. And nothing I could do got that to work. I think gluing so many of these together, they were glued in wonky. And that just doesn't look good. So I had this dilemma. And then I thought, do I? Do I have a dilemma? Because back in the day, when I first started altering books years ago, this would not have bothered me at all. I didn't know enough. I didn't know better. This would have just been, oh, it looks asymmetrical on that side. Now let's get going. So I decided to work in this book anyway. See what it teaches me. Make beautiful layouts. If you like altered books, journal arts, vintage books, paper, and ephemera, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and be sure and turn on the notifications. And you will have more of them in your life. Now, let's go alter a book. I'm going to start out by putting down this background. These are handwritten maths pages. And I got them from a book from 1832 that someone made in school. It's a handwritten math book full of flourishes, tables, and they just make amazing backgrounds. So many different ways you can make that pop. I have made a lot of these of printable scans, and they're for sale on my website. If you want to have a look at those, the link is below the video. Just some digital scanned versions of these sheets. I rough tore a little bit off the top border and the bottom border. This is going to let a little bit of the original text peek through, and that will add texture and interest to the eye. I'm going to continue adding to the background, building it up with some long ways pieces. This is an old old-timey check from Bristol and West of England Bank Limited. It's from the 1800s. It has this really cool embossed 1 penny here. I got this at a vintage postcard show here in Wales. To this, I'm going to add another layer, longwise, and this is a French piece from 1902. It's a quittance de prime, and that is kind of like a canceled check. But it's got this handwriting, some stamps, and it just really makes me happy. And over them, I'm going to add this lady here. She's from a fashion magazine from 1881. I have also made a printable scan of this lady. It's free and it's on my website. So there's a link to that below the text. If you'd like to go over and get that, you can add her to your own work, either on paper or digital. Go get them. I'm going to glue this down, cut this out, and be right back. Pretty sure she is going to go on this side. But before I glue this down, let's have a look at what would happen to the layout if she was moved over here. You should always move your focal points from side to side, angle to angle, to see if it changes the feel and the narrative of your layout. Here, she is gazing off to something we can't see that's off the page. Sometimes I like this. It adds sort of a mystery and a story to the piece. And the viewer has to decide what that story is. But in this case, I think it's going to be stronger if she is engaging with whatever's going to go on this side. And here are some of the contenders. This is a vintage taper. Vintage print of a taper. I think it's a taper. And he's kind of small for this big layout, but I do like how this old receipt makes a frame for him that fits very nicely and also fits with her eye gaze. So that's really cute. But I don't know. I always love birds' nests and these goldfinches. And again, these are going so well with this. But I think that the nest itself is a little bit busy with all of the handwriting and would probably be better served on a page with just some text. And it won't get us, the detail will not be so swallowed up. So even though that is really pretty, I'm not going to go with that. This is a very tempting one to go with. It's got the vertical line here matching this vertical line here. And there's some blue that would pick up the blue on this side of the page. So that's tempting. As is this stork. I know he's not looking at her, but it's almost as if she's gazing at him and he's a little bit shy. Not sure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with this dodo. Now, I've had this bird for about 12 years, and he was from a book of, coffee table book of birds. And again, he's just so big, I've really just not had a place to put him until today. I think that he is as poignant as he is absurd. And I like how these caramel and sepia colors are picked up throughout the rest of the layout. So I'm going to go with that and be right back. I want to add some embellishment. I'm thinking to add interest and fill up the space here and here. I have these postage stamps, these vintage stamps that I got at an old postcard show. I love stamps for embellishing. They've just got these little, see, that's got like a little tiny hand holding some very choice jewelry. There's definitely a story there. And then we've got the blue color that's picking up the blue throughout. If you don't have old postcard shows near you, you can go online, eBay or Etsy, and use search words such as vintage postage stamp lot. And keep scrolling until you find one in your price range. They are very inexpensive. 2, 3, 4 pounds, $5, and you're going to get a ton of them. And they make great elements. Over here, I have these tiny butterflies, or I think they're moths. And I like, again, how they're picking up the colors in his plumage. So I'm going to put those over there, and that will draw the eye across. I want to use 3 because there is a rule in composition that says that an odd number is more interesting than an even number when you're putting down elements. So 2 is a little boring. 3 has got something more curious and interesting to it. These are from a vintage book called Our Country's Moths and Butterflies from 1905. And I have made printable scans of several pages of these, and they are available on my shop. The link is below, if you just like old butterflies. I'll go glue those down. I am mighty happy with how this turned out. I'm going to stop here. Leave it like this. It is important to know when to stop. Please check out the text below this video and find out what's happening here at Book and Paper Arts. Please leave me a question or some feedback in the comments below. YouTube will like me better if you do. Finally, please join me Sunday. I have a What's New in the Studio video showing some of the vintage treasure that I have recently acquired. Until then, happy making.